Repeat. Mazda sahne yaptım. Sosun orası.
The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. And if children, then heirs, heirs of God, and joint heirs with God. If so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of God. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same, in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now, and not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption to it, the redemption of our body. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces, like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth.
Repeat. Mazda sahne yaptım. Sosun orası.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Kakwadash, and double honors unto you, to the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to each of my brothers. Peace and blessing salutation to the hope elect out there, pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Kakwadash, pushing to get up out there. Shalom to the hope elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scripture through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right, what I want to go into with this live stream is dealing with the devil at work. All right, he that is evil, to himself. All right, speaking of Esau Edom, at the end of this man's kingdom, okay, this man is going all out. All right, he's moving from a position of desperation. Okay, he's a madman, that's obsessed, with his ambition of trying to be the Most High. Okay, and he's willing to sacrifice, a lot of his own people. Okay, the health of the earth. Okay, the animals, the water, the air, and he's willing to risk it all. All right, just to attempt to be the Most High in the earth. Okay, with this technology, man. Okay, and what we're seeing is this man is dismantling. All right, this old system. Okay, which is going to destroy, the masses. Okay, including his own. Okay, to try to set up a new world order in which he can, imitate the Most High through technology. This is the mind, okay, of a man that's obsessed, all right, whom the Lord has hardened, okay, and he has a wicked ambition, okay, and he looks at anything and everybody as disposable when it comes to his wicked ambition. Outside of these few families, these few oligarch families, this man looks at everyone as disposable, okay, to pull this off. All right. So you Edomites that are not within, the inner circle of the elites. Okay, you're an open game. Okay, you're a pawn to be sacrificed. Okay, for his new world order. Okay, and this man doesn't care about age, gender. Okay, infirmities or anything. He just cares about throwing up this new world order. You see, you Edomites are catching hell with the eminent domain. They're taking your land. Okay, they're buying out all your politicians, so you have no one, okay, to stand for you when it comes to the infrastructure for this new world order. Okay, and now they're getting ready to cut, Social Security. Okay, because they want this older generation to die off anyway. Okay, that's a target. In a wicked man's kingdom, the women, the elderly and the children, okay, are vulnerable. Okay, so when you go to the book of Sirach 14:3, it says riches are not comely for a niggard. All right, and when you go into a niggard, it's someone that's stingy. Okay, someone that's very, when you go into like a someone that's self-centered, that's self-absorbed, and someone who's only concerned about themselves and their well-being. Okay, so you give riches to someone like that, well, the earth is in trouble. And see, you have the elites, they're nothing but niggards, man, and all they do is set up systems to where all the wealth goes to them. Okay, and you put men like this over, the wealth distribution of the world, well, you're gonna have a very unbalanced, all right, distribution. Okay, because this nigga's a nigger, he's stingy with resources, man. All right, these people, this whole money system, this whole this modern economy with the paper money. Okay, this devil, he uses that as a tool of control and a tool of debt. Okay, while he hoards up all the resources, man. You see, he's a nigger that's in power. So wealth is not comely or a beautiful thing to a nigger, man. Okay, and the earth is at, the mercy of a goddamn tyrant, a nigger. All right, the elites of Esau. And what should an envious man do with money? Yeah, so what would an envious man do with money? And see, he hates to see people have anything. Okay, these few families, and even they be at each other's throats, man. Okay, these Edomites play a zero-sum game to where they want everything, all right, and you to have nothing. Okay, and once this small group gets everything amongst these Edomites, where they look at each other with this same look, I want what he got, I want everything he has. You see, and they fall out every time. Okay, they did it as the Greeks, they did it as the Romans, and now that they revive, all right, Rome 2.0, they're getting ready to do it again. So they're taking everything, what little that the poor have left. Okay, well, we know they're gonna fall out again. You see, and we're seeing them fall out now. Okay, so it says riches are not comely for a nigger, and what shall the envious man do with money? He gathered by defrauding, all right, his own soul. Okay, he gathered by defrauding his own soul, all right, gather for others that shall spend his goods rising, man. So he that gathered by defrauding his own soul, gather for others, man, because these devils don't have immortality, man. So these devils spend all this time, in their life doing all this wickedness to heap up wealth, and their wealth is just passed on to another generation. And right now, we're dealing with the descendants of these Edomites. You go back into, the Rothschilds / Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the DuPonts. Okay, we're dealing with their descendants. You see, they rule the earth today. Okay, you see, it's their descendants. All right, and a lot of these Edomites, these elites are young. Okay, wild. Okay, And there's no telling what they're doing, you see, with this wealth. All right. Now we know they have a new world order agenda, and we see that they're spending a lot on this infrastructure, where a man's treasure is, that's where his heart will be also. So his mind is towards this new world order, these elites. Okay, but then you have some of these families, man, that, these inheritance is passed down to these young wild Edomites, man. Okay. So you got that, playing out. And then verse 5, it says, he that is evil to himself, all right, to whom will he be good? He shall take no pleasure in his good. Okay. So if this man would destroy his own nation for his wicked ambition, who will he be good to? Okay. That's why even these Edomites, all right, these elites, they have these agreements. Okay. You think that these devils, all right, have any integrity and any, all right, honesty and any honor? Okay. At the first opportunity, he's going to mess over them too. Them same family that do all this wickedness together, as soon as they get an opportunity, they do wickedness to each other. So who will this devil do good to? He doesn't care about the nation. He for sure don't care about Jake. Okay. He doesn't care about the poor of his own people. Okay. And when he gets an opportunity, he messes over, other elite families, man. So how much more? Okay. So the question is, to whom will he be good to? Nobody. He won't even be good to himself. Okay. He destroys the earth that he has to live on. You see? So this to do good is not in this nigga, man. All right. And in 2026, if you're still looking for any type of justice, any honor, any integrity, any goodness, okay, from Esau Edom, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Okay. And this man has created all these wicked systems, and they're starting to implode on each other, man. Okay. So when you go from there, I want to get that word implode, and then we'll go to the video. So you get this word implode. Okay. It says to implode means to violently burst or collapse inward. Okay. To implode means to violently burst or collapse inward. Unlike a explosion, which rapidly releases energy outward, an implosion directs energy and mass toward a center. Okay. So what we're seeing is the implosion of all these systems. Now, you have a controlled demolition, all right, which these elites are, doing away. They're dismantling with this old system to try to set up a new. Okay, but what's going to happen? The Lord is going to cause this implosion to keep going beyond what the elites want. Okay, because ultimately it's the Lord that's dismantling this thing. You see, and ultimately this thing is going to keep imploding, and these devils are going to end up in captivity, man, and their empire is going to be destroyed. All their new world ambitions are going to be done away with, man. Okay. So it says, an implosion directs energy and mass toward a center. The term is used both literally in physics. All right. For example, a deep sea submersibles. All right. Submersibles, like a deep sea submersibles collapsing from water pressure, and figuratively to describe systems, okay, or careers failing from the inside, man. All right. So as he's collapsing, this old system, the Most High going to also collapse this new system he's trying to set up, man. Okay. It's all going to implode on itself, man. You see? So the Lord is setting this man up for the ultimate failure. And this reminds me of a precept. I want to get this as well. This reminds me of another precept in the book of Isaiah. Then we'll segue to this video. Okay. So these devils, they heaped up all this money and wealth and created all these systems, and it's going to explode on themselves, man. Because you got these elites that, have been extremely wealthy for all these generations. A lot of these older elites are dying off, man. Okay. And then you got these, these younger elites coming into play and impulsive, Hey, the Lord got this thing set up perfectly, man. All right. He set these devils, the script say, in slippery places. He set it up for this place to implode on itself, man. All right. Now this is and this is speaking to our people that trust in this society, man. Okay. And our people, okay, that think that, Esau Edom, has this thing figured out, as if he is the way. Okay. Well, they're going to get caught up in this collapse. All right. It's going to fall right on top of them, man. Because the Lord has raised up the prophets in his last days to give that warning, to give that continuous warning. All right. But most of our people, they ignore the warning. Okay. So Isaiah 30:12 said, wherefore thus said the Holy One of Israel, because you despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon. So since our people despise this word, and within the word is the warning, the Lord raised up watchmen, okay, to go detail for detail of what the Lord is doing in the earth, man, what he's getting ready to do, telling you how this thing is. Okay, but our people would rather trust in a system of oppression, man, a system that's built to oppress them more than any, because the system is built to oppress everyone that's outside of, these elites. So the system is meant to oppress everyone outside of this small circle of the elites. Okay. But amongst, the people that are oppressed, there's no one that's oppressed more than our people. Okay. And here it is. Our people trust this man more than any other people. You see, it said, therefore, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking, okay, or implosion coming suddenly at the instant, man. Okay. Because this place is set to implode, man. There's a lot of things that's happening, that is going to cause this place to collapse instantly. These systems that our people trust in, they're going to collapse instantly, man. Okay, and it's going to land right on top of our people, man, like a wall landing on you, man. That's a painful, horrific death. A wall, those big huge stones just come, crumbling down on you. Well, that's going to be the effect, okay, of this system. All right, that's getting ready to collapse, man. We're getting ready to implode on itself. Okay, so let's go here, and these devils. The Lord has these devils, doing like we said earlier, a controlled demolition on their own system. Okay, but what's going to happen is going to go beyond their control. Okay, and the Most High going to take it to where He want to take it to, man. Okay, so let's play this real quick. All right, now this is dealing with the Social Security, because what Elon Musk, did with those, which the elites, sent him. Okay, he was just a tool to go and start to dismantle certain, government. You see, these certain, what you call bureaucracies. These certain, these departments of government. Okay, now he did it, under the banner of, well, he's here to bring more efficiency to the government, so the government can save more money and start paying off debt. BS, man. Okay, they went in there and intentionally start, dismantling, pieces of the government, so this government can implode and it make room for what? The technocracy, man. Okay, he went to go sabotage the government so this government can fail, and as this government is failing, all right, they're rolling out a technocracy, man. Okay, so let's play this. Okay.
I've been knocking on the door here at the Social Security office, but no one's answering. What you're looking at is a Social Security office in Iowa, in one of the most rapidly aging states in the country. The office has been closed for months now, and no one knows if or when it will reopen.
It's kind of neglecting the older people.
It's kind of distressing, like, okay, now where do I go?
This is just one office, but it's part of a crisis that most people aren't even aware of.
And how did you find out that it closed?
From you.
Social Security has existed for 90 years, but right now it's at a breaking point. So we went to Iowa to find out, why is it breaking? And who's responsible?
The backlog has just gotten worse and worse. They call in the 800 number, they're on hold for 5 hours, and then the calls dropped.
And for people who paid into this system for their entire lives, it feels like a betrayal.
I'm angry. It's almost like you're being punished for being on Social Security.
And what are the consequences for the 70 million people who receive Social Security checks every month?
Everybody has parents that reach a certain age.
What does it mean if all of them don't get their checks all at the same time?
That's primarily my income.
I worry for my children, is who I worry for. That's who I worry for. The next generation is in trouble.
Is it possible to talk to a representative?
Would you like me to text you a link so you can do it now? Text and data rates may apply.
Iowa.
Talk to a person.
Sorry, did you want me to text you a link? Text and data rates may apply depending on your plan and your carrier.
This is crazy. Now she's 74 and she works part-time.
I work for a couple Dollar Generals. I go over and service the cards. Just took down Easter, put up Mother's Day.
Susan is one of at least 40% of elderly Americans who rely on Social Security for at least half of their income.
And this is how you judge, okay, a rulership. Okay, you judge it by how the common people are living. Okay, this is the mirror. This is a mirror for the people that's in power. Okay, a 74-year-old woman working at Dollar General on Social Security. Okay, and you can tell she's obese from the standard American diet. Okay, which is nothing but chemicals for the most part. No nutrients. Okay. You see, this is the coming, and this is coming in this man's kingdom. Okay, and this technology. All right, these people. When you see, she has no one around because the elderly are discarded in this society. Because this society about what partying and BS and trending and going viral. So the elderly, okay, discarded in this society. Man, America is a wicked, self-centered, bunch of assholes, man. To be honest, man. Okay, and it's good that America is slated, to be completely destroyed. Okay, and we don't feel sorry for you old Edomites catching hell neither. Okay, we don't give a damn. All right, we don't care about the eminent domain. Okay, you're losing certain benefits, and even you Edomite farmers, they're moving you out the way and making room for Bill Gates farming. Okay. So yeah, man, you Edomites, all right, your rulers don't give a damn. Okay. They have this one ambition, it's a new world order. Okay, and they just look at you as an obstacle, man. Okay, so let's play this.
Every month.
I did sign up for Social Security when I was 63 because I was considered fully disabled because of the arthritis.
What do you use that $1,500 for?
Well, that pays my rent and my utilities. My utilities are high here because it's an older building.
And since she signed up for Social Security, Susan has had an office to go to nearby to get her questions answered. Like recently, when she got a letter in the mail about a refund and wasn't sure if it was legitimate.
How could someone at the office help you determine if it's a scam or not?
Because they can look up your account and tell you exactly. They have access to all that information. And I went in there and it's an office temporarily closed.
When it first opened, they had about 5 people in the office.
Last time I think I was in there was only one guy in there.
Lorraine Borowski is the city's former mayor.
She knows everything about Decorah.
There was a person that had been there for a long time that was ready to retire. He was an extremely dedicated person.
When the employee retired, Lorraine fought to keep the office open, but the Decorah office has been closed since last fall. The closest offices now are in La Crosse, Wisconsin, Rochester, Minnesota, and Waterloo, Iowa.
Call the Waterloo office. Waterloo is an 1.5-hour drive from here.
I mean, I can't exactly hop in the car and drive to a city that I'm not familiar with and drive around for another 15 minutes, or better trying to find an office that would be very difficult.
I think you're looking at how that progresses from local to regional, state, and national.
Thousands of Social Security employees left the agency in 2025, leaving it the most understaffed it's ever been. And this was no accident.
Since Reagan, we've been faced with an environment that says
government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Treating Social Security as a problem.
During the campaign, I called attention to the fact that Social Security had both a short and a long-range fiscal.
He was a super demon. All right. And this is who handed, all right, all the power, all right, to corporations. And this is when, okay, Americans really start getting, all right, shammed. Okay. When the economy, all right, only benefited the corporations. Okay. The devil here, man. Ronald Reagan, and he had the same slogan. Guess what his slogan was? Make America great again. Okay. That was his campaign slogan. You see? And he went in and did the bidding or the corporations back in the late 70s, early 80s. Okay. And they run and they brought this same character back around with Trump. Okay, so they play this some more.
The problem.
Social Security benefits themselves can't be cut like other social programs, but the agency that runs it can be defunded. Jessica Lapointe worked as a claims specialist for Social Security for 14 years. Now she's the president of AFGE Council 220, which represents Social Security workers in field offices and call centers.
Congress failed to meet the demands of the baby boomer by staffing up the administration.
In 1995, there were 43 million people on Social Security. Today, more than 70 million people are. But over the same time period, the number of people working for the agency actually declined.
Coming into 2025, we were an agency in crisis. We weren't getting hires to meet the demand of the public.
Demand just goes up and up and up. You already had the lowest staffing levels in the history of Social Security before Trump took office.
But retirees are some of the most reliable voters. So on the campaign trail, President Trump made a show of keeping Social Security safe.
We're not touching Social Security other than we make it more efficient.
But efficiency is just another word for the fiscal problem Reagan harped on decades ago, one that led to hiking the retirement age. And when he took office last year, Trump unleashed Elon Musk and Doge to finally solve it.
We're also identifying shocking levels of incompetence and probable fraud in the Social Security program.
But Doge couldn't just axe Social Security. It's too popular. So instead, they took it out back and let it bleed dry. Since Trump took office, Social Security has lost more than 8,000 workers, including at many field offices.
They lied, they pretended, there's all this waste and abuse.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
They're trying to destroy it through the side door.
They created a buyout program. Over 50% of our field workers do not make a living wage. You got low morale, denigration. Of course, you're going to think the buyout is attractive.
At least 9% of field office workers are gone.
We were at a 50-year staffing low, high attrition rates, and 7,000 more workers left the Social Security Administration.
And all of this means disaster for the people who need those services.
Long wait times, delays in getting an appointment. When you're faced with a disability, you don't have the luxury of waiting several months to get through.
A ghost office is an office that doesn't function anymore. You can't get the services that you need because there's not enough people.
I'm angry. I'm almost 80 years old. I've paid into that system since I was 15 years old, and it's my money.
As more workers leave the agency, many are worried that getting help in person from Social Security could eventually become a thing of the past. It seems like they're really trying to push people to go online here.
Everything go online. Well, a lot of people don't want to go online. You don't know 100% if you've got a secure website.
The Trump administration set a goal this year of reducing in-person traffic at these offices by 50%. But for some people, technology and modernization haven't been an improvement. Alice has been locked out of the agency's website for years. She's still not totally sure why.
For me, it would be so easy to use the electronic, but I can't do it anymore.
Alice tried calling, going to Iowa City, going to Coraville.
It was 20 hours of phoning and going and dealing, and it's not acceptable. Just not.
No.
What would I do if I had to change where my payment went? Or if my husband passed away? I won't do it now. I mean, there's no point. It's too stressful.
In December, an audit claimed that Social Security phone wait times were down to 7 minutes. But the same report showed that 25 million calls to Social Security ended without a caller receiving service. And those wait times don't include callbacks.
The estimated hold time is 40 minutes. To avoid waiting on the phone, we can call you back when it's your spot in line.
And so if there was an issue with your payments, if you need to talk to anybody, what do?
I'd have to make an appointment in one of these cities, and that will be a couple of weeks, or for all I know, it could be a month out, and drive there and take the...
It is absolutely a cascading failure situation. If this office in Decorah, Iowa, is no longer accessible to people, it's not that the people are going to stop needing the services.
Is this what you thought life would be like as a retired person?
No. No.
There's legislation in Congress now that would restore Social Security staffing levels to what they were at the end of the Biden administration. But that would just be a start to undoing 40 years of disinvestment from Washington and meeting the demand of millions of more retirees in the coming years.
And at the end of the day, all right, they don't plan on a lot of you Americans being here, okay? And everything is going, digital, all right? And they plan on AI, okay, handling all the administration work of the technocracy. Okay, you have a problem with your C-hip, get used to calling and dealing with AI. Okay, this people to people, okay, contact, all right, they're cutting it short, and that's why most of these companies you call, you have to go through, AI after AI, bot after bot. It's rare that you talk to a human, okay, because in their new world order, they plan on AI doing all the administrative work, okay. You have a problem with your C-hip, a problem with this, a problem with that, you're going to deal with AI. Okay? You have a 911. Okay, it's going to be AI. Okay? Everything that these devils, they want to facilitate everything through this AI, man. All right? And there's a generation that they want to do away with. And see, the new world order won't be Social Security, man. Okay? It'll be a UBI for those, okay, that survived the chaos. Okay, that survived the colon. You see? But nah, man, let's go from there. The Lord is going to bring in a new government. Okay? And you Edomites, a lot of you Edomites are just two-time losers. Okay? Let's go from, let's go here, yep. Because Howard Shah, when they was asking about who's going to be the greatest, well, he touched on the ruling style of the heathen. Okay. This is Luke 22 and 24. And it says, and there was also strife among them, which of them should be accounted the greatest. All right. So you have the disciples, arguing about who would be the greatest in the kingdom. And he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. Yeah. So what he's saying is how, the kings of the Gentiles, they exercise lordship, which means they use their positions of authority, all right, to exploit the masses. Okay. They use their titles and positions of authority to exploit the masses and not be of service to them. Okay. And here it is, they exploit the masses. Okay. And they're still called friends of the people. Okay. Because going back during this time, this was a time of ancient Rome, pagan Rome. All right. Pax Romana. Okay, here it is, Rome would extort the masses, okay, through heavy tribute, okay. And then what they would do, they would enrich, the tribute would enrich, okay, a small class of oligarchs from certain families, okay. And every now and then, they'll build a stadium, a coliseum, have games with bread and circus, and make it seem as if, look, they're benefiting the people, like their rulership benefits the people. Okay, when ultimately, all right, the people benefited, all right, the rulers, it was a one-way street. You see? So Yahweh Shah said, look, that's the style, all right, of the Gentiles, these heathens, especially Esau. But ye shall not be, all right, but you shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is chief as he that doth serve. Okay, and let's get this in the NLT, because here it is, these devils create these systems where people got to be dependent, because really people shouldn't be just dependent on the government. Okay, and that's why he gets to play hero, because people have forwarded all their dependency on the government. Okay, a population is not supposed to depend on the government to feed themselves, to house themselves. Okay, people are supposed to have skills to live off the earth. Okay, you're supposed to be able to grow your food. You're supposed to be able to build your own house. Okay, those things are supposed to be common knowledge, all right, within households, man. Okay, people are supposed to be able to understand the herbs, to be their own, physicians. Okay, you're not supposed to be dependent on the government for housing, for food, for for health care. That's off, man. Okay, and then they're able to play the hero when they offer you something and give you a price cut. Well, you're not supposed to be dependent on them for that. Okay, but this devil sets up this government that creates all this dependency. Okay, where the common people that have all this dependency on their government, and their government can play the hero. Okay, when in reality, the government is just enriching themselves off the masses. Okay, it says Yahweh Shah told them, in this world, this is Luke 2:25 in the NLT, Yahweh Shah told them, in this world the kings and great men lord it over their people, yet they are called friends of the people. But among you it will be different. Those who are the greatest among you should take the lowest rank, and the leader should be like a servant. Yeah, and what does this mean? It means those who have the highest offices should have humility, okay, and should be able to relate to those of the lower rank. And this is what this captivity is showing us, how to be relatable as kings. When we get in our power, we're going to know how to relate, all right, to the lowest in our kingdom, excluding Esau. Okay, he's just going to get their work for 1,000 years and be out of there, man. But after that 1,000 years of rigorous captivity, okay, we're going to know how to be relatable to the lowest of our people. I mean, to the lowest, all right, of the heathen, because all our people are going to be on. But even then, even in that dynamic, because you're going to have rank amongst the amongst Israel. Okay, but we're not going to be stunting on our people because we got higher rank than them in the kingdom. Okay, and when we're ruling over the heathen, we're going to know how to be relatable. We're going to be firm. Okay, when it comes to righteousness, it's going to be firm, no negotiating when it comes to righteousness. Okay, but we're going to know how to be relatable. Okay, and it says, those who are the greatest among you should take the lowest rank, and the leader should be like a servant. Yeah, our rulership is going to be for the welfare. The water is going to be cleaner. Okay, the food is going to have all its nutrients. The animals are going to flourish. Okay, no wars in the earth. You see, so our rulership is going to do a service. Okay, beginning with our people first and foremost. They're going to benefit the most. Okay, but ultimately life on earth is going to benefit, excluding Esau, who will be eradicated after 1,000 years, man. Okay, so yeah, man, we're getting a 101 on how not to be, okay, in our kingdom. You see, from watching how Esau moved, man. Okay. And a lot of you Edomites are 2-time losers, man. Okay. And you Edomites are getting ready to catch more hell. All right. Because Jacob trouble is also going to be, okay. All right. The time of your misery, Esau's misery, man. Okay. And he's going to walk his way from the lower class Edomites all the way to you elites, which are going to get it the worst when it finally comes to them. Okay. So that's the point. Just want to bring that out, Lord will, you brothers. All right. And you few sisters are edified once again. Give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Makakwadash, double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards our brothers, and peace and blessings, salutation, hopefully, shalom.